Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession on the world's #1 chiropractic podcast. Before we dive into this powerful episode, please remember to subscribe to our channels and give us a 5-star rating on iTunes to continue hustling. This episode is brought to you by Peach State Payments. Ethical processing, more profit, less stress. Chiro HD, more than an EHR. Practice management simplified. Recover, new revenue, no compromise. Cool Blue VA, your virtual assistant. The Chiro Speaking Company, attract, educate, and convert. Chiro Spring, cloud-based, user-friendly software with all the essential features chiropractors need. OmniWave, redefining comfort and acoustic wave technology. The Chiro Hustle Podcast is sponsored by Chiro Health USA, ChiroScript AI, Chiro Moguls, Pure Chiro Notes, 5-Star Forge, Titronics, Sherman College of Chiropractic, Life Chiropractic College West, and the IFCO. Let's hustle.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 691 of the Chiro Hustle Podcast. I'm your producer, Luke Millette, and here's your host, James Chester.
So today we have the opportunity of interviewing Dr. Jason Alviene. And if you want to hear about chiropractic corporate leadership, stay tuned for the full episode. Welcome back. This is another episode of the Chiro Hustle Podcast. Today I have Jason Alviene on with me. I'm really excited for this episode. Been trying to get this guy going for, 6 months to a year. And now we're finally on with a interview. Start out body worker, professor, author. Now he's corporate leadership within 100% Chiropractic. Came over from the Joint. We're going to talk about his mission, visions, and roles. Also comes from an education background, and we'll talk a little bit about that too. But before we get into all things Dr. Jason, I will let you know our big why. Why do we do what we do over here at Chiro Hustle? Well, first things first is freedom of speech. I think that that's so important with the show that we do. We know what it's like to be traffic throttled and censored and shadow banned, and we'd never do it to you. We also believe in medical freedom and family health freedom. They are not the same things, but if you need some guidance, reach out to 100% Chiropractic office, and they'll be able to help you out. When we get more philosophical, if you guys are watching this and see value what we're doing over here, please share the show with a chiropractic student or a new grad that didn't get philosophy through their education. Once again, share the show with them. Because we do have a philosophical pole, and we believe in protecting BJ Palmer's last words. That was a sacred trust. If you want to learn more about chiropractic, go over to our show notes, click on Sacred Trust, and take a test drive and learn more about that. We also believe in subluxation-based chiropractic. I know I shouldn't have to say that, being that we're a chiropractic podcast, but they're taking the stuff out of the colleges. So once again, share the show with the student. And then we believe in innate intelligence, universal intelligence, and educated intelligence. We believe that when man or woman, the physical, gets adjusted, it connects them to man or woman, the spiritual. And with that, they get smarter, which is educated. And with that, Dr. Jason, your episode 691. Welcome to the show.
691. I think I'm going to like that number moving forward. Thank you.
Yeah. So let's just dive right into this. How did you think that you were going to just get in 25 years ago? You're like, I'm going to be a chiropractor. What led you to that point?
Well, this is actually an interesting story, which I usually wouldn't share. But I mean, it's what happened. So I was 21, right around that age. And a friend of my mother's, his name was Chuck Paul. I met him. It was like 6 months after my mother met him. It was just a friend, ended up being a friend. And when I met him, he said to me, "What do I plan on doing with my life?" Kind of a common question you get when you're younger, especially since I hadn't gone to college. And I said, I like working with my hands. And he said, "You like working with your hands, but I feel you have a healing heart. Why don't you go check out a massage therapy school? And it's only 9 months. Go become a massage therapist and see if it's a field you want to get into." Now, this is back when you don't have the internet. You can't just look something up online. So I had to actually flip through a phone book and find a massage therapy school that was close. About 2 weeks later, I wanted to find out more information from this guy. This was August 11th, back in the 90s or the late 1900s. And I want to find out more about massage therapy. What is this going to be like? And at the age of 47, he had just passed of a stroke. And I never got to speak to the guy again outside of that 30 to 45-minute conversation we had a few weeks prior about massage therapy. So on my own, I went and visited a massage therapy school. And within 2 months, I was in classes learning. By the time I finished, I started work in a chiropractic office. That was my stepping stone into this career. Working on patients, working as a CA, and just learning all about subluxation, what happens with innate intelligence, what goes on with the body, and just seeing people come through that office and walking out enjoying their life. It came to that crossroad where it's like, I'm either going to be doing massage therapy for the rest of my life or I'm going to chiropractic school. And as you can tell, the story was written. I made the decision to find out what it was to do chiropractic school. Figured I had to start with English Comp 1 because I never had college classes. And sure enough, that's exactly what I did. And right into chiropractic school, my alum, Logan, in St. Louis, which gave me the tools I needed to be where I am today. Also, that master's degree that they offered, I was one of their first students to go through their master's program, sports science, rehab. And I just wanted to know as much as I possibly could so I could educate and direct the patients the best I could.
And 25 years in the future, what's your favorite part of being a chiropractor today?
My favorite part today is the new chiropractors coming out of school. Being able to pass information on to them. Hopefully they take that information and they're able to utilize it faster than it took me to learn it over 25 years.
And leadership roles. I know that you came from the corporate world with the joint and now you're with 100% chiropractic. Talk to me about that role that you have with 100% now.
So I'm the vice president of operations at 100% Chiropractic, and it's really their first vice president operations position that they brought into the company. The company's been growing so fast that they had a need for someone to really dive in and help out with operations. I've been finding that as I'm meeting with these doctor-owned offices and non-doctor-owned offices, all the people are passionate about helping the patients that walk through the office get from point A to point B, being able to do what they want. They're just sometimes missing, how do I get the message across to the patient so they want to keep coming back? That I find is the biggest challenge that these doctors or even non-doctors owner offices have within there is, how do I relay the message to the patients so the patient wants to keep coming back and get the care that they need?
So let's go a little bit granular. What's your best advice to one of these young DCs that comes into the 100% chiropractic family to get that and fix that?
Well, you know what? It might even be before they get here. If you can be able to get a position working in hospitality and or high-end sales and learning how to really cater to and serve people to what they want, that's going to be a key, because this is a service industry. We serve the people that walk through the door versus us telling them about chiropractic. We need to connect chiropractic to what it is that they're looking for and make it about the patient.
You know, I love that so much because I come from a service industry background, and that's where at 30 years old, 16 years ago, the doctor I opened up the first office with in Chicago, he was going to Palmer playing rugby, and he was working the door at a piano bar I was bartending at, and he selected me out of the service industry to go help him run his office.
Yeah, that's some of the best advice I give to docs when they're hiring a CA. I said, don't hire somebody that has an MA, medical assisting background, or they've had other chiropractic office experience. Those things can be trained specific to your office. Bring the person in that was the bartender, that was the hostess, that was the service person, the person that's worked at the high-end hotels, that was at the front desk, and just concierge type of personality. You want that patient to walk through the office to feel like they're the star of the show when they walk in.
Yeah, I think it's just important that people have courage. They have the courage to talk to people, and they have the courage to make connections and not feel awkward. And, to invite everybody in. I think that that's a big part of it too, is you just have to like create an environment where everybody feels welcome.
Yeah.
And that's probably like my best like advice to somebody is like create an environment when everybody comes in that they want to come back. And they know that this is where they belong and they're a part of a community. And you're not going anywhere, they're not going anywhere. And here we are today. And let's see you for the rest of your life. And I want to take care of your kids. Who else in your family can I take care of? Build that plan for not just that individual, for the whole family.
Oh yeah, exactly. I do have one other piece of advice for them.
I love it.
Here we go. This is probably can be one of the top things you can do in an office from the hospitality standpoint. And I've been calling it the Paris syndrome. Yes, in Paris is we. And I find a lot of docs and a lot of CAs in the office going, we want your spine to look like this. This is where we do adjustments. This is where we do this. It's not about us. We've got to change our we's to you's. It's got to be about the patient. Your spine should look like this so you can A, B, and C. You can play with your kids. You can swing the golf club better. This is where you will get an adjustment. This is where you get to come in and get care. So we make it about the patient and not about us. That is hospitality, I think, at its finest.
Well, it speaks to people's subconscious. When you say, Jason, you are going to be on the Chiro Hustle podcast, it changes the dynamics of taking you're on a journey with us now. Like we are going to be here because this is what we do. But when I say your name, actually, if anybody was curious, like the most important thing that anybody will hear on a day-to-day, the most valuable thing that they'll ever hear that they've been hearing since a little one is their first name. So when you say somebody's name and you can give them that bit of dopamine, they're already on the journey with you. And then if you make the conversation about them, then they're buying in faster, because they've all been looking for somebody to pay attention to them, and they want to tell you all their things. They want to, they once you start asking those open-ended questions and you make it about them, you just got to figure out how to transition them to not talk so much.
Yeah. Anybody that's ever been on a date where the person across the table only talks about themselves, there's no second date. When they question and ask about the other person, there's always a second date.
People check out pretty quickly.
Yeah. Yes.
So you've been involved with chiropractic 25 years. What advice would you give to, besides the communication aspect, what advice would you give to a chiropractor on how to build their practice?
You have to find a marketing company that you trust, and you need to spend the money on digital marketing today. You have to. You have to have a voice that's out there. You have to call the leads when they come in, and you have to continue to call them until either say, yes, I'm coming in, or no, don't call me anymore. This is all about ghosting, or I tried them twice, or they'd rather text. You got to get away from that. If you can't do it yourself, hire someone that can get on the phone with that hospitality personality and speak to those patients and entice them to want to come into the office.
Yeah. The difference between $1 million office and one that makes, $50,000 a year is follow-up. The fortune's in the follow-up. And if you have a strategic partner and a strategic plan, when I schedule somebody in doing a screening event, I'll tell them 3 things at the end. We're going to call you. We're going to email you. We're going to text you. We'll do everything but send a homing pigeon for you. So all I ask you to do is follow up and show up to your first visit so we can help you. And when you build in that kind of humor with the seriousness also, people know that it's not all serious, but hey, we're going to do everything we can to make sure that you show up. All we ask you to, then I say, you signed up for this special promotion. All I ask you to do is treat the certificate like cash because that's what you paid for it. And promise me one thing, you'll show up so we can help you. And when I do that back end close with people, 70% of the people show up. It's pretty cool. So the fortune is in the pre-frame, but it's also in the follow-up of when that person connects with that digital ad. And I was telling you this off camera. The clinics that have the most success are the ones that do organic posting. They have great digital ad footprint, but they also do engagement style posting within their local community. And then if you go out and do community events, it's just like everything works in unison. Like the ad works better when you are organic with your posts. The live events that you do out in your community work better because of the digital ads you run. So all of them work in sequence with each other. So you're so right, man. You have to be on those phones like within 30 seconds, within a minute of that person buying that offer and following up with them and getting them on the books.
Yeah, these people, they are looking for a solution and you have to get to it. I also suggest that 30 days, let's say you didn't get to that lead and they didn't answer and they didn't come in. 30 days is time to call them again. Because here's what happened. You missed the lead the first time around, they went somewhere else. It's now been 30 days. If they didn't get results from the other company that they decided to go with, now you're reaching out and be like, you know what? I'm not getting results there. Maybe I'll try the new company. So just because a lead is 30 days old does not mean it's dead until you get either a yes or a no from them.
You made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession on the world's #1 chiropractic podcast. This episode is brought to you by Peach State Payments, ethical processing, more profit, less stress. Chiro HD, more than an EHR, practice management simplified. Recover, new revenue, no compromise. Cool Blue VA, your virtual assistant. The Chiro speaking company, attract, educate, and convert. Chiro Spring, cloud-based, user-friendly software with all the essential features chiropractors need. OmniWave, redefining comfort and acoustic wave technology. The Chiro Hustle Podcast is sponsored by Chiro Health USA, ChiroScript AI, Chiro Moguls, Pure Chiro Notes, 5-Star Forge, Titronics, Sherman College of Chiropractic, Life Chiropractic College West, and the IFCO. Let's hustle. Yeah, I think there's just a lot that goes into building a practice, and that's some really good advice. You know, understanding how to make it about the you instead of the us or the we, and then to make sure that you follow up with people and manage those leads the right way. Because honestly, you're paying for them, you might as well go and convert them.
Yeah, they're looking for a solution. You should be it.
So the future of chiropractic, this is a big question I love to ask. Where do you see us going in the next 20 years?
Where I see and is also where I hope it will go. I want to see chiropractic move, and I believe it's going to move more away from the insurance industry. It's unless there's a change in insurance policy where it goes from sickness care to paying for wellness care, unless there's that shift, chiropractic is going to get further and further away from it, focusing more on cash. And patients are going to be, listen, I'd rather pay cash and get what I want versus having to get what I'm allowed to get based on my insurance.
Yeah, my experience, I feel like people are trapped in a system when you're like, yeah, by the way, don't even worry about bringing your insurance card to your first visit because we don't take it anyways. We'll work out a cash plan based for on a national average. That's something similar to what an insurance reimbursement would be. So I kind of have that conversation with them too and pre-frame them in to know like, look, we're not going to like charge you a whole lot of money. We're just going to get an equal exchange to make sure that this is an easier barrier of entry for you. And I do think that people, like for me, I pay my chiropractor, my card's on file. I just say charge a thing every time I come in. You know, I go once a week. And I get checked. If I need to get adjusted, I get adjusted. But I would much rather pay out of pocket than ever worrying about a third party reimbursement because it's just easier on all parties involved.
Oh, everybody. I mean, the paperwork, the waiting for it, the going back and forth. I mean, the patient gets the care and then they get a letter in the mail on their EOB too. And they're looking at it going, they never paid my chiropractor, or my chiropractor charged this much and then they reduced it between this. And it just creates so many more questions because it is a confusing environment from state to state and policy to policy, and even within the same company.
Yeah, a lot of my clients that are just cash based, I'll say, look, um, if you want to come in, this is the deal for the cash offer, but the office will produce you a super bill if you want to go for reimbursement for yourself. And a lot of times when you give that option to people, they're like, nah, I'm good. I don't want to do the extra legwork. And I'm like, well, that's why we just do cash, because we don't want to do the extra legwork either. And we want to focus more on your health and your care rather than a reimbursement or a denial. I think it's a responsible way to run a practice. People can do whatever they want to. I'm not a chiropractor, but I've been a part of this profession for 16 years, and I've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly when it comes to insurance. And I think that you're right. There's either going to be all we do is insurance or all we do is cash. I don't think there's going to be hybrids going forward.
Yeah, there's going to be a shift. There has to be, because it's hitting a balloon state right now where something's going to burst.
So, mentors and heroes, who are some of the people that helped build your identity to become the chiropractor you are today?
So within chiropractic, there would be none other than the Dr. Patrick Montgomery from Logan University. He was very big into teaching us the history of chiropractic, the different techniques that came out of chiropractic, and what you really giving to the patient is that hope to be able to have a great quality of life. He would even set up outside of school hours, starting in November through April, winter months, fireside chats. And there was a nice gazebo in the back of the campus there. They'd light up fire. He'd have hot chocolate and marshmallows for everyone. He'd get in his rocking chair and he would talk to us about chiropractic for anybody that wanted to show up.
And that takes me to where you are today. You've also been a professor in university. How did you take that framework that you learned from Montgomery and put it into that role that you played at Kaiser?
So when I taught at Kaiser, I was not in the chiropractic program. And I actually started working for Kaiser before they even had a chiropractic program. And interesting enough, I was one of the people that started the initial proposal to put in a chiropractic program, because we knew Dr. Kaiser always wanted one there, even before I worked there. So I was only a part of that process. But the classes I taught there were in the massage therapy program, the sports medicine program, and then anatomy and physiology. The things that I brought wasn't just teaching what was in the textbook. It was teaching the people how to take what they're going to learn and how can they think for themselves. How can they utilize this moving into their different professions? And it's not the end when they're done with this degree, should they not want it to be. One of I call it my protege, Dr. Chucky Jordan. He's in South Carolina now. He was a sports medicine student. He did his internship in sports medicine at my chiropractic practice, and then he went off to Logan University and became a chiropractor. It was just so cool to see somebody that started where they're taking English Comp 1 and then doing certain classes with me and then learning rehab and chiropractic in my clinic to now he's doing the profession. That I call that, because that was that first one that went through.
It's like a miracle story,
Yeah.
You get a chance to see somebody, you get a chance to nurture them and see them go fly. It's pretty cool. And I know you did want to talk about the 3 T's within chiropractic and the patient connection, thoughts, traumas, and toxins. Let's jump into that, because I think that when you talk about this transition of being the teacher and now being in the corporate world, a lot of this is about being a great guide. And I think that this is a really important part of the conversation today, is guiding people, understanding that thoughts are so important, not just the toxins or traumas.
Yes. So when I am interviewing a patient, whether it's I'm personally doing it or a CA is doing it or a doctor's doing it, traumas are easy. I got into a car accident. I fell down the stairs. I tripped over my dog. I slipped in the shower with my wife. I mean, just certain things like that happen and you get injured. Toxins, I think, are easy as well. They may not think of all the toxins, but most people, they say toxins, yeah, I've eaten some bad food. They forget about like environmental toxins that can affect you. And some of these you can't avoid. It's the thought process that I believe is missing within a lot of the chiropractic profession, where I'm saying taking a deeper dive to connect with that patient. Okay, you've hurt your back. You now can't play with your kids on the floor. How is that affecting you mentally? What are your thoughts when you do that? Are you getting sad? Are you getting angry? What's happening? What are you choosing to do instead that's not productive because you're having those thoughts? And there are plenty of techniques out there that a person can do a DIY, do it yourself at home to help release some of these, I'd say, toxic thought processes that chiropractors could pass to their patients to do. Say, listen, here's some homework for you to do to be able to help your healing process. Because the only thing we do here is get rid of those subluxations for you and anything else that you do in the office. But those toxins and thoughts and micro traumas that happen outside of here, when you come in, I can't be your psychologist and I can't pull toxins out of your system. I can only adjust. So how do you help that person? And I've liked working with docs, and I've said, docs, if you have patients that are failing to thrive in your office, let me have a conversation with them, just like you and I are right now. Let's do a deep dive into that patient, what's going on, give them some home techniques, and then send them back to their doctor to go get care. You need to continue the chiropractic care, but you need to add this additional homework to be able to do on a daily basis to release those thoughts.
You know, it reminds me of a good friend of mine, Eric Plasker, who created this program called the 100-Year Lifestyle.
I know, Eric.
And he talks about, all right, so you got a trauma, do it with chiropractic. You got a surgery, do it with chiropractic. You got some intervention with pharmacological, still stick with chiropractic. You go to the hospital, anything, still stick with chiropractic. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I don't care what condition you're going through, whether it's a thought, it's a trauma, or the toxins of life, always keep chiropractic in alignment with the other thing that you have to go do to recover. And I think that that's just a really responsible thing to discuss, is like, look, everybody's got a thing going on in their noggin. They don't know where to go or who to trust. They didn't even know the solution was chiropractic. So now we need to keep them on brand as they're going through whatever journey that they're on, as your client or patient, whatever you want to call them, practice members. Everybody has a different thing they like to call people. But no matter what segment they are going through the journey of care with you, never let them just disregard chiropractic as they're going through that journey, and always let them know that, you know, you might need to do this, but keep under chiropractic care. You might need to go do this, keep under chiropractic care. And really, if you ask me, like, where I see the profession going, I actually think that chiropractic is the tip of the spear. I think that people are going to start eventually saying, you know what? I want that group that does least invasive. I want the group that like actually can heal me by touching me. I want the group that doesn't do pills, potions, and lotions. I want the group that doesn't do cut it out, drug it out, burn it out. I want to go to somebody that's going to get me education on diet and exercise and rehab. And I want somebody that's going to take care of my body, not from a pharmacological input. And I do think that chiropractors will eventually become that port of entry for all cases. So that means that we need to do a really good job in building these franchises out with 100% to where people can actually get access to quality chiropractors and a quality group of chiropractors that can take care of them long term. Because I do think that the trend going forward is we have a way more educated, more resourceful group of people. and they have seen what's happened over the past 4 years. They've been lambasted with a narrative that doesn't have anything to do with taking care of their bodies.
Yeah, we've hit a point where we need more people choosing to go to chiropractic school and become chiropractors. Just from my standpoint, looking out from where I was before 100% where I am now, there's not enough chiropractors. There's job openings everywhere right now. That's just showing that there's a need for a chiropractor to be there to serve that population. So there is a growth. So if more schools open and more programs open, I'm happy for the people to go through and get the degree, even if they're not getting the philosophy from there, because they can get it from other places as well. But we need more doctors getting out there with a license to be able to help the people in this community known as the world.
Well, for me to close the book on that, I also want them to be dynamic adjusters. I want them to have the best skill sets in the world when it comes to patient care. And I do want them to have a huge philosophical standard. So, if people go onto my website, chirohustle.com,
Yep.
you'll see the colleges that sponsor our show. And those are the colleges that have a deeper philosophical resonance. And I would recommend people to go check them out. Sherman College, they also produce great hands-on adjusters. Life West, they have great philosophy. They also produce great adjusters. So as I've gotten to know more about what the doctors need in the field, they need chiropractors that they don't have to train once they finish a degree of how to be a chiropractor. They need
Yes.
they need people that come out of school that are guns blazing, pisiforms on fire, that are ready to go out there and take care of patients with competency and the ability to jump in on day one and be a treating doctor, not to be nurtured and kid gloved for 6 months as they're getting paid.
There's a workaround that right now, as far as getting that hands-on experience, and it's known as a preceptorship. Every student, I believe, should be required to go to a preceptor's office and train their last semester, last year with a chiropractor that's approved to do this, to get the hands-on work, because the hands-on is not happening as much in the schools, because I know the meta competencies through CCE have changed on how they're addressed. So it's not getting 300 adjustments. It may be for California or certain states, but it's more of, did you make this happen? Did you make that happen? Versus, did you get your hands on people and adjust them? So the preceptorship should be a part of every education. And I think that's where the schools are going to go, is they're going to start farming out as much of that hands-on work to the chiropractors in the community. So chiros, if you're out there and you want to be able to help influence this profession, become a preceptor site.
Well, I'll just tell you from my experience, the best adjusters that come out of college are the ones that go to mission trips. So I would also recommend those chiropractic students to invest in their future by going out there and serving at a high capacity and getting their hands on a lot of people, and go on a mission trip and learn how to be a dynamic adjuster.
I think the statute of limitations for me is beyond the point now. So when I was in school, I had taken Gonstead as an elective, and now I'm in my maybe 6 months before I graduate, 8 months before I graduate, and we're in class, and the teacher has one of the students sit down in the chair, says, "Who wants to come up here and do an atlas adjustment on this patient?" So throw my hand up. I get called in. I go find the subluxation, did the Gonstead adjustment. Thing blew up. The whole class heard it. And Dr. Cranwell, our teacher, he said, "How did you get so good at that?" I said, "You want my honesty?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "I started doing this adjustment in try one." So I already have I said, I have close to 3 years of practicing this. And he looked at the class, he goes, "That's how you get good at adjusting. You do it over and over and over again."
Well, honesty always matters. And
Mhm.
I believe competency for chiropractic is huge. And I believe that if we're going to have a revolution going forward with the new administration that is going to make chiropractic very, very important, we do need to create competent chiropractors that when they finish college, they can come right out and be great practitioners. I really enjoyed our conversation today about all things chiropractic. Is there anything that I didn't cover with you that you wanted to touch on?
The only thing I can think of, should people want to learn more about me, if I can so do so, I have my book that I put out there, Discover Your Pull, Pull. It's on Amazon. It's a paperback or hardcover. It's a very easy read. It's only about 100 pages, but it really goes over the thought process and some techniques on how to deal with when you're starting to have issues like chronic pain and thought issue processes and decision-making processes, and just be able to read my story, and then also understand yourself to hopefully being able to change the path of your life at an instant.
And if people wanted to join as a practicing DC into the 100% group, where do we send them to?
100%franchise.com. And then there's a contact page on there. Very easy. You can, in the comments, say, I want to speak to me, and I can get on the phone with anybody that wants to learn more about it.
So the takeaways today, guys, go check out Discover Your Pull book on Amazon, 100 pages, and connect with Dr. Jason. Go to 100%franchise.com if you guys wanted to jump in and become 100% doc. And there's a lot of great resources in today's interview. If you have any questions about moving forward with anything with Jason, connect with him on the socials. I find him on Facebook. So if you guys want to connect with him on the social media world, connect with them there. But if you guys want to go to the corporate page, it's 100%franchise.com. Once again, check out his book, Discover Your Pull. Dr. Jason, thanks for being our guest today.
Thank you, James. I really appreciate this. This was a lot of fun. Always good talking about chiropractic.
Yeah, there's a lot of pathways we took people on, and it's a very unique episode because we talk about competency, mindset, and how to create the best profession moving forward. And I think that there's a lot of good conversation based on that for marketing, strategic for getting the headspace right and getting the hands right. And I think that that's what creates a dynamic chiropractor. So yeah, man, you're spot on. We had a great conversation about all things chiropractic.
All right. And thank you.
Yep. So I'll close out like I always do. This is 691 of the Chiro Hustle Podcast. You guys are just one story away. Keep hustling. I'll see you guys on the next episode. Bye for now. Thanks for listening to Chiro Hustle. Don't forget to subscribe and check back next week to continue hustling.